He slid the brochure across the table like it was part of the meal. No build-up, no hesitation. "Dad, we already put your name on the list." I looked at it for a moment. Clean design, smiling faces. A garden I knew I would never sit in. I didn't reach for it. Instead, I picked up my coffee and took another sip. It had gone slightly cold, but I didn't mention it. Across from me, my son watched, not impatient, just certain. His wife stayed quiet, focused on adjusting something on her plate that didn't need adjusting. It wasn't a conversation. It had already happened somewhere else. I nodded once, not in agreement, just acknowledgement. Finished the coffee. Took another bite of the chicken, though I wasn't hungry anymore. "Thank you for dinner," I said. No one stopped me when I stood up. No one asked what I thought. Outside, the air was cooler than I expected. I sat in the car for a minute before starting the engine, hands resting on the wheel, looking at nothing in particular. It wasn't anger that stayed with me. It was clarity. The drive home felt longer than usual, not because of distance, but because there was nothing left to assume. No expectation of being asked, included, or reconsidered. By the time I pulled into my driveway, the decision had already begun forming. Not as a reaction, but as a correction. Inside, the house was quiet, exactly as I had left it. I didn't turn on all the lights, just the one near the hallway, enough to move through the space without disturbing it. I walked into the study and opened the drawer where I kept the older documents. Not the ones I used regularly. The ones that only mattered when something shifted. They hadn't been touched in years. I sat down and went through them slowly. Property records, accounts, names attached to things I had built, maintained, paid for. Nothing dramatic. Just structure. Over the next few days, I didn't rush. I made calls. Quiet ones. Appointments that didn't need to be explained to anyone else. I reviewed options. Not out of fear of where they wanted to place me, but out of understanding where I preferred to be. Independence wasn't something I had lost. It was something I had assumed would always be recognized. That assumption had been the mistake. By the second week, the plan was clear. Not complicated, just deliberate. By the third week, it was finalized. I didn't inform them. There was no need. The call came from my lawyer, exactly as scheduled. I wasn't there to hear it, but I knew how it would sound, measured, professional, without emotion. "Your father has restructured his assets and living arrangements. No accusation, no explanation, just fact." Later that evening, my phone rang. I let it ring once, twice, then I answered. "Dad?" My son's voice was different now, not uncertain but no longer certain either. "I got a call today." "I know," I said, a pause. "You didn't say anything." "You didn't ask," I replied. Another pause. Longer this time. "We were trying to help." "I believe you," I said. And I did. That was the complicated part. There was no villain here. Just a direction they had chosen. One that placed me somewhere I hadn't agreed to be. "I've made my own arrangements," I continued. "They're already in effect." "What does that mean?" he asked. "It means I'll be staying where I am, on my terms." Silence settled between us, not hostile, just unfamiliar. "You could have talked to us," he said. I considered that maybe I could have, but I thought back to the brochure, the way it had been placed in front of me, the absence of space for response. "I think we already did," I said. He didn't answer. We ended the call without resolution. No argument, no agreement, just a shift. That night, I sat in the same chair I had sat in for years. The same room, the same quiet, but it felt different now. Not because anything had been taken, because something had been clarified. I wasn't being moved. I wasn't being managed. I wasn't being placed. For the first time in a while, I wasn't waiting to be included in a decision about my own life. I had already made it, and that was enough.